Hey ladies, welcome back to the channel. As you can tell by the caption of the video today, we're going to be doing a French tip set with some bling. So make sure to comment, like, and subscribe and hit the bell so you can know when I post. So of course I start every set by pushing back the cuticles and exposing all of the new growth in that dead skin. And then I go around the entire cuticle area with my cone shaped drill bit, and this just gets rid of all of that dead skin and again helps expose the entire nail. That really helps prevent lifting, so that's a very important step. Now I'm going around each nail as well, the cuticle area, with a 180 sanding band. You want to make sure that you are keeping the drill moving and you have it at a low speed. The main goal here is just to simply remove the shine. As you know, the shine is produced by natural oils. This happens to all of us. So we just want to remove that because that can sometimes prevent the acrylic from adhering properly and your retention rate being high. You know, we want our clients' nails to last as long as possible, and the better you prep, the longer they will last. So definitely keep that in mind. So this client is going to be doing a medium square, so I am using my pre-shaped nail square tips. As you can see, I am just applying the nail tips following the same direction as the previous nail tip. You want to make sure that you are choosing a nail tip that fits perfectly, not too big, not too small. And went ahead and cut them to the medium length. Now don't do any shaping. As I said, they're pre-shaped, so I save all of my shaping for the end to save time. It kind of is pointless to shape them now when they're already square and then shape them again. So now I am just going over where the natural nail and the nail tip meet with that same 180 sanding band. You don't want to apply too much pressure. We're just blending that nail tip in, and this is important because it also helps prevent lifting and really helps those nails last. So like I said, make sure that you're keeping that file moving. It is totally optional to file the entire nail tip, but I just do the blending. And so as you can see, this is the Mia Secret dehydrator. This is really important. This helps get rid of those natural oils one last time and just really dehydrates the nail. And now I'm using my Young Nails Protein Bond, and this is what helps the acrylic really bond to the nail. I don't film it, but I do always apply 2 layers of the Young Nails Protein Bond, which is totally optional, but I feel like it really helps the retention rate. So now I'm going in with my Cover Rosebud, I believe, by Young Nails. I really love this as a base acrylic. You guys know, if you've watched any of my previous videos, that I normally go for sugar and cream, and I just use one of their nudes, but I was totally out, which is a sad moment, but this is what I started using when I first started to do nails. This is always my number two, sometimes my number one, depending on how I'm feeling or the set I want to do. So I definitely recommend it. It's super affordable, especially if you're a beginner nail tech. It's super easy to work with. It's so buttery. Like, I could just talk about it and go on and on, but definitely recommend it if you're looking for something that is cheap and affordable, and easy to work with. Definitely check out Young Nails. And like I said, this cover, this color is Cover Rosebud, and you can find that on Amazon. So yeah, we're working on the pinky right now. As you can see, I applied 2 beads. The first one starting at where the natural nail and the nail tip meet, and I just lightly feather it down. You want to work with a bead that is not too wet, not too dry, of course. Too wet will just be runny, and too dry will not move at all. So you want to make sure that you're working with a medium wet bead. And when you are feathering it down, when you're patting it down, you do not want to pull or drag at your acrylic. You just want to simply lightly feather it down. I know that might sound confusing, but the more that you do it, the easier that it will get. You just want to work with a light hand, because the more pressure that you apply, the harder you work, the more product you're taking off. And we don't want to waste product. We want to get these nails laid, save our product, save us some money, and save us some time. The more product you wipe off, the more you're going to have to keep reapplying. So just kind of keep that in mind. Then, as you can see, for my second bead, I went ahead and just placed it right above and did the same with the cuticle bead. So I'm doing the same thing here. Now, normally with my sets, I always do like a 3 to 4 bead method. Of course, do whatever is comfortable for you. Use as much acrylic as you need, and never be afraid to add more. And I say that because every nail tech does it differently. I know some nail techs that use one bead, some nail techs that use too many to count. So it's definitely whatever is comfortable for you, and definitely base it off of whatever set you're doing. So just keep that in mind. But I personally do like to aim for 3 to 4 beads. I feel like it keeps me right at a good pace, and it lets me have a perfect foundation without having too much acrylic, and also not leaving me without enough acrylic. So the main part that you want to focus on is your apex, and the apex is where the natural nail and the nail tip meet, which is why I do place my very first bead there, and then I just work my way up from there. That way, by the time the entire nail is finished, I have a good foundation from cuticle to free edge. And if you don't know, the free edge is at the base of the nail, like the bottom where the cuticle, the cuticle, the free edge is the total opposite. So, yeah, by the time I do that method, because by the time I am finished, the cuticle to the free edge is built up perfectly and my apex is perfect. Now, a lot of people think, especially starting off as a beginner, that your whole entire nail has to be super thick, and that the more acrylic you have, the more sturdy they are, the more longer they'll last, and that is not true. As I mentioned, your apex is the most important part, so you do want to make sure that you're focusing on that. And of course, the rest of the nail cannot be too thin. So if you follow this technique, or even if you have your a technique that works better for you, as long as your apex is nice and has a slant to it, I always say, look, if you watch my previous videos, I always tell people to look at your client's nails from different angles, especially from the side after you're done applying the acrylic, because this is what will tell you if you need more acrylic or not. As far as having too much acrylic, I definitely feel like if you work with the medium-sized beads and you work your way up, I feel like it's very rare to get done with your application and feel like, wow, I have too much acrylic. I definitely say make sure that you're taking your time and you're paying attention to the nail after every bead, especially when you think that you're done with that nail. Just give it a double check before moving on. And I say that because if you apply way too much acrylic, you're slowing yourself down, because in the end, you're going to have to either, one, leave your client with that much acrylic and now they're going to have fat nails, or two, you're going to file it off, and that's going to take as much time as it would have, I guess I should say way more time as it would have than it would have if you just, would have put less acrylic, obviously. So, this method has always worked for me. I've always placed my first bead where the natural nail and the nail tip meet, and then you'll see I place my second bead right above that, and I do kind of play it by ear. Sometimes I need 2 3 more beads, sometimes I only need one, which is why I say, just as you're working, make sure you're paying attention to your client's nails and the application. As you can see, I'm just feathering it down. And while we're talking about saving time, the cleaner and the neater that you work, the more time that you're saved. Now, you don't want to rush yourself. Of course, rushed work is never great work, so you want to take your time. But in the same sense, you don't want your clients to feel like they're sitting there for hours on end. You want to get your client in and out. You don't want them to feel like they're spending their whole day there. And you don't want to be spending your whole day on one client either, because all that's doing is limiting your money. So you want to be mindful and keep that in mind when you're doing your sets from start to finish. The cleaner and the neater that you work, I promise you guys, the more time you'll save. So as you can see, I'm making sure to wipe my free edge and the sides of the nails, keeping that nice square shape. Remember when I said I don't shape them in the beginning? That's because I'm going to really shape them in the end. So after my acrylic application, you'll see that the nails are nice and neat. They still have a really good square shape, and I just go in and clean them up rather than spend the time creating a square shape, putting the acrylic on, and then shaping them again. It saves so much time. As you can see, I'm also wiping around the client's skin, making sure that I don't get any acrylic flooding over. That will definitely cause lifting, so you just want to be mindful of that. As you can see, like I said, the shape, sorry, I blanked there. The shape is still really nice and square. Of course, we want it to be super crisp, so I am going to go back in with my 80 grit file. Now, be careful. I did say 80 grit. This will easily and can easily cut your client. I've done it a few times. I'm not afraid to admit nobody is perfect. And I've definitely done it on myself. And it's such an uncomfortable feeling. It literally just feels gross and it hurts so bad, you guys. And I don't know about anybody else, but if you've been cut with a file before, you know, it literally takes so long to heal. It sucks. It really does. And then you're scarred for life. So moral of the story is make sure that when you're using this file that you are very careful when you're making sure to pull your client's skin back. Now, like I said, this is an 80 grit. This is what I use. I know some nail techs that use 100 grit, but I use the 80 grit. I feel like it's the sharpest and it gets the shape always the neatest in my opinion. So like I said, she's doing a square shape, so we're just going to go ahead and clean up the shape. So when I was mentioning the cleaner you work, the easier it is. As you can see, it's not taking me much time to clean the shape up because the square was already there. I'm just sharpening it up. So I'm going on the sides of the nails, filing the side walls at a 90-degree angle, making sure to press the nail flat up against the sides of the nails. And then when I get to the free edge, I am making sure to file straight up and down at a 90-degree angle. You want to make sure that the file is pressed flat up against the nail and that you are going straight up and down. That will definitely give you a nice, crispy, clean square. This is very important, a lot of people forget it. I'm also making sure to file the undersides of the nails. That can definitely make or break a set. A lot of people forget that, and then when they get to the end, their clients have really rigid nails on the bottom. So you want to make sure that you are taking the time to file the undersides of the nails and get any of that acrylic that was left under there, anything that may take away from the shape. So now I'm going in and I am sealing the cuticle with my ceramic drill bit. This can be found on Amazon. And if you are a beginner, or not even a beginner, but just somebody that gets a little nervous using these drill bits, they do have safety ones which are rounded at the tip that will definitely help you prevent cutting your client. But in this case, I'm just using my regular ceramic drill bit and I'm going around the cuticles from one side to the other, making sure to get the entire cuticle. And then I am also filing the nail from left to right, top to bottom, covering that entire nail. You want to make sure you're using the same steps that you did with those sanding bands. Anytime you're using your e-file, you want to make sure you are keeping it moving. If you leave it in one spot too long, like I said, it will cause friction, which causes heat, and it will burn. Not a great feeling. This is a really important step, you guys, because sealing the cuticles is what helps prevent your client's nails from lifting. You want to make sure that the cuticle is getting nice and packed and nice and sealed, and that will help the nails last even longer. When they grow out, they will still be nice and flush with the nail. And then, of course, filing the rest of the nail. I know some nail techs do it with the file. I prefer to do it this way, but that's just my opinion. But this just kind of smooths out the nail, make sure everything is nice and even, no lumps or bumps. If you're careful with your acrylic application, you won't really have that anyways, so you won't really have to worry about this step too much. But in this case, I still always do it because nobody is perfect, and no matter how clean the application is, it doesn't hurt to make sure that everything is nice and smooth. So this is the outcome of that. Can we say slay? Because I definitely ate that up. 4 plus 4, 8. But anyways, now we are going on to the French tip. So I don't film this part, but I want to throw this in there. After I do that, I forgot to film buffing the nails. You can just find little square buffers on Amazon for super cheap. You want to make sure that you buff the entire nail, which just gets rid of anything that may have scratched nail or gotten on there from that e-file. And then I do put cuticle oil around my client's nails and have them wash. So now she sat down, she has freshly cleaned nails, pretty smooth, ready for design. So as you can see, like I said, we're doing a French tip and we're going to add some bling. So I am using white by Madalone's. I think that's how you pronounce it, but it's from Amazon. I really recommend this brand because it's not too thick and it's not too thin. I know a lot of people have problems with a lot of white gels, but I feel like this is perfect. It always has just the right amount of pigment to it. Really like it. So to do my French tips, as you can see, I start by outlining the sides of the nails. I kind of started from where I want to start my French, or like kind of determine how deep I want it, and then I go ahead and do it on the opposite side, and then I just go ahead and start to connect. So in this case, the client didn't want deep French. She kind of just wanted like a lower, classier type of French. It's kind of hard to explain, but she didn't want it to be, she didn't want the French to start at the cuticle, more so the side walls of the nails. So that's what we're doing here. And as you can see, I just made sure, like I said, I drew my lines on both sides to kind of map out where I wanted the French to start and how high I wanted it to go. And then I just went ahead and connected the lines, and now I'm filling it in. So a lot of people get intimidated by French tip. You know, they make it seem like it is super hard and just impossible to do. And I will be honest and say that French tip definitely does take some practice and does take some time to master. But once you get into your groove of doing it, I promise you guys will fly through it. When I first started French tip, I was trying literally so many different methods. Nothing was working for me, and so I would just used to watch videos and watch other nail techs do it over and over, and then finally I just kind of used that and have my own way of doing it now, and it works perfect for me. So I do want to throw that in there, that the purpose of my videos are not to say that what I'm doing is the absolute right and only way. It's just to kind of give you another look at it, be another nail tech out there that shows you how I do it. That way you can kind of, you know, either try it or maybe try it with a twist and hopefully master your own way of doing it. So don't ever, you know, get discouraged if what you see here in the videos doesn't work for you. Just keep going, keep pushing through, keep trying, and you will get it. As you can see, not all my French tips turn out perfectly either. You'll see that I do sometimes have to take my cleanup brush and clean up the sides or clean up the U, which is totally fine. Like, no matter, even if you do 300 perfect Frenches, there might be that one that just needs to be altered a little bit, and that is fine. That's why they make cleanup brushes. So I do, like I said, through my sides, connect the U, fill it in. And I always, you'll see me do this in every set, every single video. Anytime I'm using gel polish, wipe the sides of the nails. Now you want to make sure that you're more so getting the underside of the nail, but when using gel polish, it does get pretty thick sometimes and it will start to run to the bottom. And you want to make sure that before curing it, you wipe the side walls of every single nail. That way you will regain your shape, and when it comes out of the dryer, it won't, you know, turn wonky. So just keep that in mind. But once again here, just so you guys can see it again, I went ahead and drew my lines, and now I'm just connecting that U. And I do want to say that after you fill it in, it makes it a whole lot easier for you to see if you need to go back and curve your French a little more here or there, if you want to take some away, if you want to add some, if you want to fix it a little bit, clean it up, whatever the case may be. It's much more noticeable once you fill it in, which is why you'll see on every nail after I filled it in, like you'll see me about to do here, I do get a little bit more polish, and you want to work light when doing your French. I forgot to throw that in there. Light on the brush. But okay, so back to that. As you can see how it's all filled in, I am going and I'm just cleaning up that U, and I'm getting it a little bit more crisp. And I'm going to go back through and wipe the sides, and I'm going to cure it for 60 seconds. And then I put my top coat on. So this is how it looks, you guys. Super clean. I do file the free edge again also to make it a little bit cleaner. But yeah, this is the finished result. I did not film doing the bling because I'm sure you know how to put on bling. So yeah, this is how they turned out. I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure to comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.